Pashas Devarim, Likkutei Devarim, page Aleph. There's basically one maimer, 1.5 maimerim. Okay, the pasuk says at the end of this week's Torah, Tzion b'mishpat tipada, that Tzion will be redeemed with mishpat, which is, as Targum says, halacha meaning Torah. V'shaveh, its returnees with tzedakah. So basically, Tzion will be redeemed with Torah and tzedakah. It says, it says in Shema, these are the words which I'm commanding you today. What does it mean today? Like the Gemara says, every day Torah has to be like new to you. But the Alter Rebbe asks, how is it possible that something that's 3,000 years old should be brand new every day in your eyes, as if it's mamish the excitement of something brand new? The Yuvim Behegdem will understand it by first introducing the purpose of the neshama is coming into the world. With the neshamas existed, the neshamas are not created. The neshamas existed even before the 6 days of creation. The malachim, the angels were created in 6 days of creation. Yashem and B'Sheni, Yashem and B'Chamishi, 2 opinions in the Medrash. One opinion says the malachim were created on Monday. Another opinion says they were created Thursday. So the malachim are creations. But neshamas, like it says, Yisrael olu b'machshava. The Yidden come from machshava. That level was before, higher than creation. Creation was with Vayomer Elokim. Creation comes from the word of Dibur. Okay, this comes from the level of machshava. Well, Chazal tell us, simply means with whom did Hashem decide to make a world? B'nishmeseim shel tzadikim, the neshamas of tzadikim. Simply the Medrash means Hashem had a board meeting and he decided who his running mate is going to be, who he's going to pick, who is he going to create the world, he decided with them to create a world. So obviously, and now Rebbe said, "V'lo tzadikim levad, elav amech kolam tzadikim." It means every single Jew. Chassidus explains what it means. Again, not that Hashem had a board meeting with the neshamas to decide if he wants to create a world or not. He means, for what purpose did Hashem create the world? B'min nimlach mean with what did Hashem decide to create a world? With the purpose of neshamas of Yid. So therefore, neshamas come from such a lofty place, even higher than malachim, even higher than creation. And yet, what's the purpose? Like we know, you need to say chaliyah. The purpose of the neshama. In other words, you don't invest money in a business to make back the same money. In fact, there's an expression in the Gemara: you buy it for $1, you sell it for $1, you're called a businessman. Gemara says that expression. It means if the neshama comes down, meaning there's an investment. Investing money means you lose money. You're paying money to invest it. But the purpose is not to make back what you invested, but to make back more than you invested. So obviously, if the neshamas are coming down into the world, it's obvious that the purpose of the neshamas coming into the world is to go back to a higher level. So he says, to understand how could it be possible, the Yidden come from such a lofty level. So where is the aliyah, where is the elevation afterwards that they're going to? They're already higher than world. Okay, so the Alter Rebbe asks 2 questions so far. Number 1, how is it possible every day should be new? Torah mitzvah should be new. And secondly, what, in Yiddish expression, in what is the purpose, what is the elevation that the neshamas are going to be having greater than they were before? Okay, so he says like this, the beginning of davening in brachas, right? You say, was cholas hatfila. That's the beginning of tefillah, even before Asher Yotzat. Not the way we do it today. First we say Asher Yotzat, okay, neshama. But the Gemara says in Brachas, in the time of the Beis Hamikdash, or even later, they didn't say Maidani. Maidani is after invention. In the time of the Beis Hamikdash, the Jew woke up in the morning. The first thing they said, Elokai neshama shenasata bi tahirahi. With the bracha, Baruch atah Hashem hamachzeh neshamas tivganim mesim. Why? Because they were much purer than we are. So we are not able to say before washing the Vasser until Shadayim, we're not able to say Hashem's name. They were greater. They used to say Elokai neshama shenasata bi. Okay. So because they didn't become impure in their sleep. They were pure. Even though the neshama left the body, but they were pure. That means in those days, first they said Elokai neshama shenasata bi, and then they said Asher Yotzat. Commercial cause, 1 second. It's like he says, commercial cause, the Gemara the Brachas. The Gemara says at the end of Masach the Brachas, when a person wakes up from his sleep, he said, first thing he says, so what does tahira mean? It's pure. What does pure mean? From the ultimate level of purity. Now, in the bracha, we say like this: tahira ata berasa, ata yitzarta, ata nefachta bi. Right? That means, which is, by the way, the 4 worlds. Tahira is Atzilus, then ata berasa yitzartif, and then nefachta means Hashem blew it into me. That's Asiya, when the world was created, when Hashem created the actual world. That means the neshama comes from a place of tahirahi, which is the ultimate level of purity. Before the world of Barasa, before the world of Bria. And then it says, then we say, Ata Barasa. Pirish Bria, Hainu Yesh Miyayin. With the world of Bria, and then Ata Nefach to be established as a neshama Teches Aguf. That's when the neshama comes actually into the body, to give life to the neshama. And you guard it. And then we say, after Ata Nefachta Bi, then we say, Ata Mishamra Bekirbi. What do you mean, Mishamra? You guard it. What do you mean you guard it? That it shouldn't leave the body, and that we should stay alive. So the Neshama comes from the level of Tahirahi, and Dafka by being in the body, then we come to Ata Mishamra Bekirbi. So in the level of Makif, V'kach erin tel baruch hu seviv u'makif. Seviv kolam and mamala kolam, and you have the 2 levels of seviv and mamala. V'leish seviv mamala. It doesn't mean that the Alter Rebbe is explaining what he says in Tanya. In Tanya, the Alter Rebbe says seviv doesn't mean that it's around it, because then it's not in it. What it means is, because it lays there seviv mamala, it doesn't mean it's out of it, because Hashem is all over the place. But the save in the level of, I'll explain in a second. That the chayis of the neshama shouldn't leave. The Alter Rebbe says, what is save of kol almin? Doesn't mean it's not here. Save of kol almin means that it's direct versus indirect. We learned this a million times, right? Mamal kol almin means it involves the person. Seviv kol almin is the level that's encompassing, meaning it's there, it affects you, it's there, but it's only affecting you indirectly rather than directly. But it's chas v'shom to say it's not there. So he says, what is the Ata Mishamar B'Kibit? The level of Makif, that the neshama shouldn't leave the body, and the chaya shouldn't start. And he calls man neshama bekibud. Then the Alter Rebbe continues explaining Elokai neshama. Then we say, he calls man neshama bekirbi. As long as the neshama is within me, meidani. I admit, submit, thank you, whatever different expression, what it means. Shekol echad ve'echad yachol lahedis laHashem. That every Jew is able to thank Hashem. That's what Meida means. Meida means thank you. It also means submission, acknowledgement. They're all interconnected, by the way. But then you say, Aval Achar Kach Tzorach Li is Baruch Ato Hashem is Madrega Gaver Yosef Mechines Seidah. Then it comes to even a Baruch Ato Hashem, your Mamshech Ato, which is even a greater level than Meidim. In other words, the neshama comes down from Tahirahi, okay, Machshava, all the way down into action, and in that world of action, this world, we're able to say, thank you Hashem, acknowledge Hashem, and then we create even a greater level where the neshama goes up to, we say, Baruch Atah Hashem, we're bringing down the level of Atah through being down here and saying, Meidem Anachnu Lach. So the neshama goes from the level of Machshava to the level of Atah. It goes from Teherahi down, and then it goes even higher.
You said it comes from the higher level. There is no higher than higher level.
There is. In higher itself, you have higher and even higher and higher and higher. There's no such thing. We say, Ulugadullah say Ein Chayker. There's no end. Ein Sof, right? There's no end to Hashem's greatness. As great as you are, or you could become, or the greatness of where the neshama comes down, there's no end to it. Not only that, it goes even more. The neshama comes down, does Torah mitzvahs, it goes back to a place higher in Gan Eden, yeah? But that neshama comes down again. That means it's even coming down from a higher level than the first neshama coming down. And yet it keeps going higher. Because in Alukus, there's no end. Because even a neshama is not a creation. A neshama is called in English an emanation. It's a gilui. Yesh miyayin is yesh miyayin. But neshama is not yesh miyayin like the malachim. The angels, the Alter Rebbe said, were created on the second day, fifth day. Either Monday or Thursday, the malachim were created. But they were created. It's yesh miyayin. Neshama is a gilui of Elokus. Now, any gilui is not the essence. Because any revelation is a certain limitation of how the essence is revealed. But it's not the essence. So again, you can keep going higher, higher, no end.
When we do the mitzvah down there with the goof.
What?
When we do the mitzvah with the goof, we reach the essence.
Correct. But then you go more.
So within the essence, there is a difference of...
There is difference of how much you reveal, how much you're baruching, how much you're bringing down. Well, Lahav and Zan, to understand, now the Alter Rebbe is going to say, we need to understand what is this concept of Meidim. He said, Ma'u Haidah. Okay? What is... Hodah means admission. Again, it means to admit. I mode that to you. I mean, I admit to you. We're arguing, like he says, Ki Meidim Chachamim LeRab Meir. He says like this. There's an expression in the Gemara that Chacham admit to Rab Meir in certain case, right? So he said, first they're arguing. If I say I agree with you, that means initially we're arguing, and in this detail I'm agreeing to you. But he says, how is it possible to say, God, I disagree with you, and Meidim Anachnu Lach? Here the Alter Rebbe interprets, Meidim also mean not only thanking, it means I admit to you. Modim, Adah means admission. So it means we're disagreeing with Hashem, and now God bade him, and I agree to you. How can you argue against him? So what are we admitting to Hashem? That means we have a difference of opinion. And by the way, Torah is saying this. Torah is saying there's a difference of opinion between us and Hashem, and now in davening we made them anachnu lach. So he explains there is an argument between us and Hashem. What's the difference? We that live down here, we say the world is yesh miyayin. And we learned already, Hashem says the world is ayin miyesh. Right? So there's a disagreement. We say, now that I'm going to elaborate on it, we say that the world is yesh miyayin. Hashem says the world is ayin miyesh. Right? Because by us, the heaven and earth is tangible, we see it, we're there's no question it exists. And what's above there we call ayin because it's not tangible. If you don't see it, smell it, hear it, feel it, whatever, it's not there. Our Ecstasy is but the Eibishter is behepech, is the opposite. From Hashem's perspective, though, He is the Yesh, and the lower the world, the more ayin it is. Right? So therefore there's this disagreement with Hashem. And this is what we say, made them anachnu, sha'anachnu made them, we talk through davening, we come to the level of meidim, that what? We agree sha'emes ukein, kameshe b'yidiyosei, we're saying Hashem, you're right, and every Jew has this submission. Agreement, I mean. Which means as follows. Let's elaborate a little bit on this. These two perspectives are not only ours and Hashem's. They're both coming from Hashem's perspective. Like we said, the Pasuk in Shmuel says, we read in the first after the first Rosh Hashanah, Kikel Deyois Hashem. Hashem is the God of Deyois, plural. So what does it mean? There's two Deyois by Hashem. There's Das Elyon and Das Tachtin. There's Hashem's perspective and our perspective. But our perspective is also coming from Hashem. Because Torah says, Bereshis bara Elokim, Torah itself says that the world is bara Elokim yesh miyayin. That means even in Elokus, by the way, which is why we have those two. But from Elokim's perspective, Elokim is Hateva, 86, right, nature. From Elokim's perspective, the world is yesh miyayin. From Havaya's perspective, Yudke Vavke's perspective, the world is ayin miyesh. But down here, Hashem created with us with a Torah perspective that the world is yesh miyayin. In other words, if Hashem's perspective is the world is ayin miyesh, then how can we say yesh miyayin? Then is Torah saying yesh miyayin or we're saying yesh miyayin? So obviously Torah also says yesh miyayin. Bara means yesh miyayin. So how could it be? Is it, from Hashem's perspective, which one is it? Is it ayin miyesh or is it yesh miyayin? So the answer is both are right. From Elokim's perspective, it's yesh miyayin. From Yudke Vavke's perspective, it's ayin miyesh. And from a higher level of Elokus B'chal, the whole thing doesn't exist. Not the ayin, not the yesh.
What does it mean ayin miyesh? Ayin down here, I understand, from this perspective. But from this perspective, he's yesh, meaning that he's a yesh. There is a yesh. I don't get that. The us being ayin, I understand. The other one, I don't.
You don't get it.
No, I don't get his perspective to be yesh.
Is it reality? Yes, is reality. Is the reality.
What does it mean, Havayu Elikim? What does Havayu Elikim mean?
Hashem is the creator.
That's what it means.
Different levels of Hashem.
The what?
Different levels.
No, that's not what it means. Then it would say Hashem and Elokim.
It's the nature that perceives.
That Elokim is Havaya, and Havaya is Elokim. Yes, because from Hashem's perspective, when you cover yourself with yourself, you're not covered. But so the Inyan, the whole concept that the Eibishter made Tzimtzum, and this is something, that's why the Alter Rebbe said we can't understand the concept of Hashem concealing himself, because normally concealment is only when I cover myself with something else. If I take the book and cover myself, so I'm covered. If I go like this and I say, I'm not covered because this is also me. My eyes might be covered because my eyes are not my hand. But me, there's no difference between my hand and my eyes. It's still me. Yes? Okay. So what's the concept of symptom that we can't understand? That Hashem is covering himself with himself, and yet that allows that from our perspective, there's a covering. So so that's the concept that the Eibishter Hashem created, that and that's a reality, it's not fake. The world is not fake. Yesh mi'ayin is a reality mitzat elukus. But what does it mean, yesh mi'ayin? Mitzat the name of Elokim, there is a concealment of the finite covering the infinite. The finite limiting the infinite. Doesn't mean it's covering it in this case. Right? But that's only coming from Hashem because the finite and the infinite by him are the same thing.
I'm talking about ayin yesh. I'm talking about
Yesh mi'ayin.
us being ayin from his perspective.
Yeah.
That's grand.
But Hashem, from Hashem's perspective, there is also a yesh mi'ayin perspective. Kel de'ois Hashem. From God's perspective, meaning from the Ato level of Hashem, or even the Havaya level of Hashem, it's ayin miyesh. From the Elokim perspective, it's yesh mi'ayin. How could that be when Elokim is also him? So how could it be called yesh mi'ayin? That's the concept of Simpson that we don't get. We can't get it.
But Rabbi, why is it so hard? You said you cover your eyes with your hand. You're not covering your eyes with it. So Hashem covers a certain aspect of himself with himself. Covering not his eyes, covering a certain aspect.
Hashem is not aspectless. Hashem is aspectless. There's no aspects of Hashem. Hashem is Hashem.
So where are we going with this?
Where we're going with this is that the neshama in the body has an ability to say to Hashem, you're right, that the reality is world is nothing and only Elokus is something. That means the neshama in a body has the ability to say, after Aton Nefachta Bi, that we're already in the body. A Jew has a Meidem Anachnulach, that we have the ability to say that even from our perspective, the only thing that exists in the world is Hashem, and not no food, no cars, no houses, no inanimate plant, animal. The only thing that exists ain't able to. And the Alter Rebbe says a Jew has that ability. And when the Jew does that, then they reach a higher level of Elokus than they were even before they came down. Because before they came down, they were only in the level of Elokus as a Gilu of Elokus. They're Tahirei, it's pure. After coming down, it has the ability to reach the essence where pure and impure is all the same thing. That Yesh and Ayin are the same thing.
So by a both.
Let me tell you a little secret. Nothing personal, anybody. Don't think about it too much. You're not going to get it anyway. Because we can't get it. We can't. We can verbalize, we can say words.
Yeah, but it helps with the tefillah when you say Elokeinu Hashem in the morning.
When you're three, that's before the coffee even. Okay. This is what we say. Meidem anach lashon meidem, we admit. She'em is a k'mei shebi diyasi. And he said, "V'kol echad v'echad Yisrael yesh bebechinas heidah zu." We say in davening, "Meidem anachnu lach." That means every Jew. It's not a lie. We're not lying in davening. Davening was made by a lukus. It's godly. Achim kol zeh heidah mirachik. Okay, it's a distant admission, meaning we don't feel it. This level of Haidah is not something we internally, we tzaddikim do, Rebbes feel this. We don't feel this. It's a munah b'chinas haTorah makif. It's an encompassing level, like gan v'apur machtat rachman ekari, you know, the guy's breaking in, he's davening to Hashem. Okay? So in other words, this level of Meidem Anachnu Loch is really superficial. Again, distant doesn't mean 10 miles away. It's superficial, doesn't affect us directly. Our bracha gili. But bracha is a level of gilui. Like the Gemara says, Yishmael b'ni barcheni, Yishmael, my son, give me a bracha. Or we say, Baruch Hashem and Elohim. There's a remarkable Gemara. I mean, there's a song about this, you know. Barcheni, you know, Avram Fried, I think, has a song. Yishmael Kohen Gadol went up there. Like the Baal Shem Tov used to go up, Yishmael Kohen Gadol also went up to heaven. And Hashem said to him, Barcheni, b'ni Barcheni. He said to Kohen Gadol, bless me. He says, what? Me bless you, Hashem. So he said, yeah, bless me. So there's a song, you know, that whole, the whole song. What do you mean? Just think about it. Hashem says to a guy, as great as he was, Rabbi Shmuel Kohen Gadol was very holy, one of the 10 martyrs, he was super holy, yeah? And Hashem says to him, give me a bracha. Imagine the Rebbe coming over to somebody and say, give me a bracha. But the Rebbe did used to do that, by the way. But, what do you mean? I give you a bracha. But Hashem's telling him, Barcheni, b'ni Barcheni, bring me down into the world. Baruch me. In other words, Baruch Ata, bring me down, reveal me into the world. And that's what he said, may be the world that you should reveal yourself. That's the level of Baruch Ata Hashem. Shenim Shech Min Ha'olam. This. What do we say? Baruch Hashem Elokei Yisrael Min Ha'olam Va'ad Ha'olam. What do you mean? Bless Hashem from world to world. So Chassidus explained, Baruch means, Hashem says, reveal me, bring me down. Min ha'olam, from Alma Diskasya, bring me from the hidden worlds, ad ha'olam, into the revealed worlds. You know, to bring down that level of Elokus, which normally is too great to be revealed in the world, and bring it down into the world. I know how you do this. V'hayu advar ma'ela. Asher neichem mitzav chayim, through Torah mitzvahs and Torah mamshichim gilui benefesh, you reveal that level of alma diskasya in the neshama, in the world. Not only in the hidden worlds, but we actually bring it down into the revealed worlds. And he said that is the purpose of the neshama coming down into the world, the Yedid Tzedek Aliyah, because Dafka, by coming down, could it accomplish that level of elokus.